Pokemon TCG Pocket just announced their 6th expansion set, Celestial Guardians, set to be released on the 30th of April. And classic Dina just can't get away from giving us Lily. In their previous game, Lily as a sync pair has been released 7 times. That means there are 7 different Lily you can get in the game. So I was not surprised to see Lily as the main card for this coming set. Not to mention, Lily cards go for a lot on the marketplace. And it ties in with the recent release of Journey Together also having Lily and Clefairy EX. This set will be focused on Gen 7 with starters like Rowlet, Litten and Poplio. Let's see if there's any interesting cards in this set. Now right off the bat, even the starters are going to be interesting because there's going to be 2 variations of the starters. If you want to focus on damage, you've got this set of starters, or you can choose the other variant of the starters which do more techie stuff rather than damage. We've got Rowlet that can do 10 damage to any of your opponent's Pokemon, which is quite a small amount, but given that it could be used for evolution or combined with Cyrus, it could make sense. Poplio can also be quite useful, being able to put your opponent directly to sleep. Solgaleo EX has a lot of health and does massive damage for only 2 energy. And essentially you don't need Leaf in your deck if you're running Solgaleo because it can just swap itself into the active slot. Although it's a stage 2 evolution, meaning it has to evolve twice from Cosmog. But then again, stage 2 Pokemon are all getting a buff considering Lily can now heal 60 damage from stage 2 Pokemon. But the real reason why stage 2 Pokemon are likely going to be taking over the meta is because of Rare Candy's introduction. This was quite a useful item in the physical TCG games as well. It allows you to skip the stage 1 evolution and just go straight to stage 2. Well, you might ask, I still have to draw Rare Candy and the stage 2 card, so doesn't that mean you still take the same number of turns to evolve something to stage 2? Well, no, because normally when you evolve once, you have to wait another turn before you can evolve again. With Rare Candy, you only need that 1 turn to go straight to stage 2. So if you're able to draw both the Rare Candy and the stage 2 card, you'll be able to evolve in 1 turn, which means we have to go back and reassess all of the previous stage 2 evolution Pokemon cards and see if anything now becomes viable to use by skipping the middle evolution. Know that some stage 2 evolutions will be relatively more buffed by Rare Candy than others, and it's to do with the fact that energy gains aren't sped up by this. If you normally needed Charmander to evolve into Charmeleon, then to Charizard, and you were taking those turns to build energies anyway, skipping that middle evolution doesn't speed up your energy gain. So if it's a Pokemon that normally needs a lot of energy before it's viable, then relatively speaking, it won't be buffed by Rare Candy as much. By comparison, a Pokemon that say only needs 2 energy to attack, skipping that middle evolution can make a lot of sense because in 2 turns, you could evolve it fully and have enough energy to go straight into attack. Here are some other new additions to the game. We've got Alolan Meowth who does 20 damage, and Oricorio who does 40, causes confusion, but costs 2 energy and it doesn't evolve. Alolan Raichu EX getting added to this game could also be a threat. If this guy is sitting on the opponent's bench, I'm worried about running anything that has 4 energy attached to it. If I've got Giratina EX with 4 energies, this Alolan Raichu will do 180 damage, meaning that even with a cape, it will not survive. Lunala EX looks interesting as well. Maybe you can combine it with Giratina EX, which generates a lot of psychic energy in the early rounds of the game, and then use Psychic Connect in order to move all of that energy onto your active Pokemon. But which Pokemon needs that much energy? Because it's not like Vaporeon. You have to move all of the psychic energy. You can't just choose to move 1 at a time. So to me, Vaporeon's ability makes a little more sense. But then again, this is the first of its kind in psychic types, besides using Dawn. So let's see where this goes. So it'll be interesting to see where this takes the meta. Itself doesn't do a huge amount of damage, it does a little less than Solgaleo and costs 1 extra energy, but it does have a reasonable amount of HP at 180. But once again, it's got to evolve from Cosmog. Maybe we'll be using Rare Candies to get all of these Pokemon to their stage 2 evolutions. What I do like is the 1 retreat cost on this Lunala. You can have it out, tank some damage, do the 100 damage with its Lunar Blast, retreat it with 1 energy cost, and then use its ability to bring the other 2 psychic energies to your active Pokemon, your new active Pokemon, essentially saving you 2 turns on the other Pokemon that you brought out. Alolan Vulpix, its attack generates more water energy, as if we needed more ways to generate more water energy. I think of all the different types, water is the one that can generate the most of its own energies. We've got Manaphy, we've got Misty, and now we've got Alolan Vulpix. Although I think it says that it can only attach the water energy to itself, so maybe run it with Vaporeon? We have now got a Marshadow for psychic types, which does 60 more damage if your opponent had knocked out one of your Pokemon in the turn prior. And it only costs 1 psychic energy, so this is a threat just to leave on the bench. You don't even need to invest any energies on this. Marshadow, you kind of have to put 1 energy on it first, so that in the turn after one of your Pokemon gets knocked out, it can do the additional damage, since Marshadow's attack costs 2 energies. This one's a weird one, Alolan Marowak. If you have 3 energies on it, you flip 2 coins, for each heads you do 70 damage. If at least one of them is heads, you also burn your opponent. Hang on, it just sounds like the Marowak EX we've had before. What's the difference here? Well, Marowak EX is a fighting type, whereas this one is a fire type. And in fire type, we have Moltres EX to help us generate energy, so the fact that it costs 1 extra energy to do the attack isn't itself that harmful. With Kiawe on the scene, you don't actually need to run Moltres EX, because it can just simply attach 2 fire energy directly to your Alolan Marowak. Although its attack does less damage than Marowak EX. Marowak does 80 damage for each heads. This one does 70 for each heads plus burn. However, Alolan Marowak is not an EX Pokemon, so you lose less when it gets knocked out. Although, in what seems to be a push towards Stage 2 Pokemon being the meta, I'm not sure Alolan Marowak will have much use in this upcoming meta change, given Rare Candy's involvement and Lily. Lana is like the new Cyrus, but it doesn't even need your opponent to have damage on it. It can draw any bench Pokemon. The only condition is that you need Araquanid on your side. So the combination of Lana and Araquanid can do something that even Cyrus can't do. You get to choose which bench Pokemon your opponent brings out to the active spot, which can guarantee the win in many situations. Although I'm yet to see whether Araquanid is actually any good. Ilima, put one of your normal type Pokemon that has damage on it into your hand. This makes normal types much more viable to play. I mean, if you're one of the players who like to run Farfetch'd, that could be useful just to take a few early hits and then just bring it back into your hand like nothing ever happened. A little bit like Koga and Weezing in the early days of Genetic Apex, when a lot of players would run the 2 together in order to negate pretty much all the damage you did to Weezing. Using it with Farfetch is one way. How about using it with Arceus EX? Although with Arceus, of course, you would also take away all the energies attached to it, so it's a bit more of a cost, whereas Farfetch or other low energy cost normal type Pokemon wouldn't cost you as much to use with Ilima. And we've got lots of Gen 7 trainers coming joining us in TCG Pocket. They are specifically targeting certain Pokemon. We've got Shiinotic and Serena that will have all damage healed on it, so if they have high HP, this could be quite a powerful card as well. Unfortunately, you have to discard all energy from that Pokemon to use this card. So it will just depend on the stats on Shiinotic and Serena whether this could be a useful one. Acerola is weird. It can take 40 damage from your Palisand or Mimikyu and move it to your opponent's active Pokemon. If your opponent only has 40 HP left, you could potentially make 2 kills in one turn, one of them using Acerola and the second with whatever attack you've got planned. Although this could be countered, because if you see your opponent running Palisand or Mimikyu, you would probably predict that they have Acerola in their deck, so maybe don't leave your Pokemon at 40 HP, maybe do some potion or just switch out your Pokemon. Sophocles is kind of like Blaine. He can add 30 damage to either your Alolan Golem Vikavolt or Togedemaru. Again, we don't know the stats on those Pokemon yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. Although I think just like Blaine, maybe we can use this in specific battle tasks where we need to avoid using EX Pokemon or 1-star, 2-star, 3-star Pokemon, or only use cards that are 3 diamond or below. Something like this could be quite useful to help you finish battle tasks. So let me know what you guys think, whether stage 2 Pokemon are going to be the meta in the new generation of cards. Thank you for watching, guys. And I just noticed that this is an immersive. Look at the border. This marks the first supporter card that's an immersive card. I'm pretty excited for this. Are we going to get immersives for Solgaleo and Lunala? I still hope so.